It is Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. This is another playoff edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by SeatGeek. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well, and we have a World Series matchup, T. Plouffe. I can tell you're super excited when you grab your leather. You're like, yeah, it's go time.
Chris, you know I love ball. You know I love the World Series, and I do love this matchup. I as much as I wanted to see Bryce Harper and the Phillies in the World Series, the Snakes earned this. So, that fan base needs to be proud of these guys. And I do think that this is going to make for a very, very compelling World Series. I think there's a lot of differences in the way these teams approach the game. And it'll be fun to see it all play out on the biggest stage, man. I'm excited about this one.
We will talk more about the Arizona Diamondbacks and how they won games 6 and 7 on the road in just a bit. But a quick reminder, today's show is presented to you by our friends over at SeatGeek. And if you want to save a little dough and get the best tickets in town, just download the SeatGeek app today. You can save 10% if you use the code word JOHNBOY Postseason. That is all caps, all one word. If you're going to either Texas or Arizona for the World Series, get your tickets on SeatGeek. If you're going to an NFL game, college football, NBA, which just tipped last night, NHL's in full swing, or a concert goer, type in the word JOHNBOY Postseason. You will save 10%, whether you are a returning customer or a newbie. So enjoy that. I know Diamondbacks fans are scurrying to SeatGeek, trying to get their first World Series tickets since 2001. And I didn't know Arizona had it in them. Brandon Pfaadt was fantastic for a third straight start. Corbin Carroll turned into the star that he has been throughout the entire season. The Pen slammed the door shut on Phillies offense for his second straight night, and they're partying like it's 2001.
Seawall to strike away. Here he comes. Cave, a fly ball to right field. Over is Carroll. He's got it, and the Arizona Diamondbacks are headed to the World Series. The Diamondbacks have won the National League pennant.
All right, I want you guys to drink up every single piece of this tonight. This is an amazing accomplishment. We're not done yet.
No, we ain't.
We're going to get on an airplane. We're going to head west, and we're going to make left in Oklahoma for Dallas in the World Series.
We wouldn't have minded if he said the words fucking. TBS bleeped them out, but we certainly understand that. It's a little different where we live these days. In a word, it's pretty simple. I am shocked.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way to put it. Honestly, for me, for both of these teams. I know some people kind of believed in the Rangers early on the season. I said I needed to see it happen before, I put my blessing onto them, if you will. But the Snakes, to me, man, even during that really hot start, I was like, this is great, but we got to play a full 162. And then from July 1st through the end of September, I believe they went like 34 and 44. Like they weren't playing well going into the playoffs. And then all of a sudden they got hot, man. And they started doing things the right way. And we kind of saw them get away from that a little bit early on in the series against Philadelphia. Finally, these last two games, they started stealing some bags again, being aggressive on the base pass, moving runners over. I thought Torey Lovullo did like an incredible job managing the bullpen, better than anybody else. And there's some guys out there that are supposed to be bullpen masters, like Bruce Bochy. I think Lovullo has handled it better than anybody in the playoffs. So it's a combination of so many different things. Carroll getting it going these last, especially last night, was huge for them. Brandon Pfaadt becoming like a thing. Like, he's a legitimate third starter that you can count on in a World Series. I don't think anybody saw that coming. So a lot of things had to happen and all happen at once for them to be in this position. But that's baseball. And that's the beauty of it, man. It really is.
Yeah, there are some people who are going to say, well, you're being disrespectful. Why don't you give them respect? We looked at this team when they were even playing well in the first half of the season. I think we both kind of felt the same way. Number one is, they don't have a number 3 starter, right? They've got Zach Gallen. They've got Merrill Kelly. Those are two dependable elite arms. Like, those are good starting pitchers. After that, we didn't know who was throwing 3, 4, and 5 during the week. We had no idea. And then we looked at that bullpen. We're like, okay, if you're serious, you have to revamp that bullpen. And last night they had four guys. They certainly did. The last four guys that pitched, three of them weren't even on the major league roster at the beginning of August, right? Thompson, not there. Salfrank in the minors. Seawald, he was up in Seattle. So three of the last four guys that you counted on, and then Ginkel, who has become the setup man of all setup men. Holy smokes, is his stuff just electric. And he is fiery, and he's fun. I think he's a really good interview, actually. He's super smart, you can tell. They're an incredible story of where it all gelled, because at the beginning, I didn't pick them to beat the Brewers. I certainly didn't pick them to beat the Dodgers. There's no way I thought they were going to beat the Phillies. And I thought they just should have packed it in after they were down 2-0.
I mean, I've been betting against them the entire way as well, man. I really have. And I think, that's something that this team has, they fed upon a little bit. And there's this funny storyline about Mad Dog and Torey Lovello. But, a lot of those guys, when you aren't supposed to do anything, like, it kind of takes a little bit of pressure off you. Okay, we're not supposed to win this. Great. How about we just go play ball? And that's kind of what they did.
Two other things, in addition to Brandon Pfaadt, who, listen, to do what he did against the Dodgers when you're already up 2-0 in a best-of-5 series, when you're in the comforts of your own home, still impressive, but okay. And then to do in Game 3 what he did, there was a little more pressure because they were down 2-0 when he got the ball, but he was back home. To do this in Game 7 in Philadelphia against that lineup, awesome. Great job, kid.
I thought Ron Darling said it best last night on the broadcast. He was talking about Brandon Pfaadt, and he was up and down, and you get sent down, and a lot of times we just dismiss those guys. Oh, he was up and down AAA. He can't be that good. But the reality is, you can work on things, and you can get better as a baseball player. And Ron kept saying last night he's the best version of himself right now, and that was so true. Like, he was, like, they weren't. I know in the fourth he got a little bit middle with his pitches, but before that they weren't touching him. And Alec Boehm ambushed him for a homer, but besides that, when he was working on the peripherals, they weren't seeing the ball. They weren't going to score a ton of runs of them. And then I thought Torey did a great job realizing that Pfaadt kind of lost a little bit of that control there and the command, got him out of there at the perfect time. But for him to even go 4 innings yesterday, I thought was good for them.
So very quickly, two other things. Ketel Marte, your NLCS MVP. Really the MVP of the National League playoffs with the hitting streak that he has got, the longest of all time. He is a switch hitter that you can put either in 1 or 2, depending on if you're facing a righty or a lefty at the top of that order, a guy that can do damage. And as a former shortstop, a guy that's got a great arm there at second base and can move around a bit too. He is a stud, and his reemergence as an elite player has been a huge difference maker for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then Corbin Carroll, dude, he used his legs finally in a game, and the most meaningful one, to get, what did he get? 3 knocks, 2 runs, 2 steals, tone setter. They're going to need more of that if they're going to take care of the Texas Rangers for 4 more games as well. So I thought
you think we're going to get a reason why he didn't steal a base for the first 5 games of the series or 6 games of the series?
Good question. One that they should ask him and ask Torey Lovello, but he turned it on. He turned on the Jets when he needed it most. So we'll get to the Diamondbacks and the Rangers a little bit later. But first, we have to kiss off the Philadelphia Phillies. We say goodbye. They finished 1 round short of where they were a season ago. This is hard for them to take, particularly after they were up 2-0 and then lost 4 of the last 5.
Last year when we lost Game 6, I think obviously we're disappointed because we didn't win the whole thing, but there was a lot of like, all right, well, we got here, like now we can build off of that. So knowing how we feel about this team, and we came up short from what we did the year previous, I mean, it's a disgusting feeling, honestly.
That was one of the best post-game interviews I've ever heard in my life after a team was eliminated from a series. Nick Castellanos broke down everything from where did it go wrong for you, because he was so hot, through Game 1 of the NLCS, and then he didn't get a hit the rest of the way. And he went through it. I mean, he roll his eyes or anything. He gave us honest answers that I thought were kind of deep. Big picture, where did it go wrong in this series for Philadelphia?
I mean, I think letting him win game 6. Bottom line, like we said that, if you go back to Philly, you can't let him win game 6 because anything can happen in a game 7. In one game, and it did. So I think it was really, letting them win game 6. Baseball's one of those sports, Chris, where, I don't think the best team wins all the time. And it's really such a chess match, and there's so many different variables that you just can't control that you can't let it get to that one game. So I think, for me, it was letting him win game 6.
It was earlier than that for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the 8th inning of game 4. The Phillies were 6 outs away from being up 3-1 with having your dude, Zach Wheeler, on the mound. And Arizona was going to have to win 3 straight against you, which would have been a very tall order. As it was, winning 4 out of 5 was extremely challenging. But to be this close to being up 3-1 and to bring Kimbrel in the 8th, which we have talked about, that some guys are just more comfortable in my friendly confines of the 9th inning, and he couldn't get through, and Thomas hits the homer, and all of a sudden a 5-2 game is 5-5, and Arizona ends up winning that thing. That was it. To me, that was the inning right there where you could, if you're going to circle one spot, I felt like that was the one.
Yeah, they came back the next day and won 6-1, and you bring it back to Philly. All you have to do is win 1 in Philadelphia, and it's like, dang, you're still in control of the series big time, and you got your ace on the mound. And
I know, but I really think if you're up 3-1, series is over. I really, really would believe that with the 3 guys they would have had to go against. But we can nitpick if we want here.
You could see last night in the game 7, we talked about how important it is for teams to get out to early leads, obviously, especially during this postseason, we've seen it time and time again. You could see the Phillies lineup understanding, early in the game, we go up 2-1, then Arizona snatches the lead back, and you could see when they got their core guys up, or the guys that, are supposed to be producers for them, they didn't come through. And they're like, okay. And you could just see I had 3 at-bats left. Now I have 2 at-bats left. And then we have 1 at-bat left. And then it's just the pressure. It becomes like a vice. It's now those thoughts creep into your mind as a hitter, I got to get it done now. Before, when you have multiple at-bats left or even another game after, you don't think about those things. You just go up there and hit. All of a sudden, you're looking and you're like, oh, if I don't do it now, I only have 1 at-bat left. And you could see it from the get-go. I thought I could see it from the start of the game with the Phillies hitters last night.
And even when Stott hit that double that gave him the 2-1 lead, you never felt like Philly was running away with it like they would in some other games in this series.
You could have added on right there.
Could have.
You needed crooked numbers for the Phillies, and they just didn't do it last night.
Yeah, they kept Arizona in the game, and to the Diamondbacks' credit, they came back. They eventually took a lead in the middle innings, and then their bullpen did what Phillies couldn't, and that was keep the other team at bay. All right, this was very different, in my opinion, the locker room setting. I watched a lot of interviews out of that Phillies locker room. I watched Castellanos. I watched Rhys Hoskins, who didn't play in the series, but knew he was playing, there for his final game as a Philly. I watched Schwarber. It was very different than when the Astros lost Game 7. I think the Astros were like, hey, listen, we were down 2-0 in a series. We came back. We took a lead. We're disappointed. We lost Games 6 and 7 at home. But the Phillies looked like they were in utter shock with what transpired. How do they process this loss?
I think the reason it was different for the Astros is because they just won the World Series last year. So, they didn't lose the World Series last year. You heard Nick Castellanos talking about that. They were kind of happy to be in the World Series last year. Felt like, okay, we can build upon this now. They went backwards, essentially. But really, I think if you're the Phillies, you do that kind of thinking for the day or 2 days or maybe even a week. I don't know. But then after that, you realize we have a really good baseball team. A lot of these guys are going to be here for a long time. We do have to address some starting pitching stuff. Aaron Nola is a free agent. But I think you just have to use it as motivation. you understand how hard it is to even get where they were at, let alone get to the World Series and let alone win it. So I think you use it as motivation as best you can. And then you use it as a challenge, maybe to your front office to, supplement maybe the bench, find wherever the holes, wherever the deficiencies were, and try to improve there. You got to find a way to move forward, man.
I know. So I think that you're right in assessing how the players and the organization will end up looking at this. If you're Philly fans, you're sitting there today and saying, what a fucking missed opportunity this was.
Yes.
I mean, up 2-0 on a team that, to be honest with you, it doesn't feel like should have been on the same field with us. They would never come out and say that, but they look at that team where
agreed.
They didn't even know who their third starter was going into the postseason. They didn't know which guys they could count on in the bullpen going into the playoffs. They just didn't. They did not have a blueprint for how this was exactly going to go, which is why I even more so tipped the cap to the Diamondbacks. But the Phillies were like, okay, we don't even have to play the Astros if we win. Yesterday, I guarantee you they were thinking to themselves, my God, when we win this game, we don't have to play the Astros. We don't have to go down to the place where we lost the World Series. Are you kidding me? We don't have to face DeGrom. Yeah, Eovaldi's tough. Yes, Scherzer's back. Yes, Montgomery's, but we'll take our chances. I like our chances. And I definitely do against that Texas bullpen. They're probably like, what?
Yeah.
What a missed opportunity.
It is a huge missed opportunity because the Phillies were a World Series team. I don't doubt that at all. They had everything like lining up for them. But Chris, they got what? Snake bit. They got snake bit, bro. They did. Hey, I'm serious, man. Watch your boots, fellas.
With all that being said, they are in a very good spot moving forward. I think Harper stays at first base. What?
I mean, you better bring Nola back.
Well, if you don't, you're going to have to go replace him. You have to go replace him with somebody. You can't just move Suarez up to your number 2 and then.
Well, and then don't tell me Ranger Suarez is a starting pitcher and then take him out after 3 innings or 4 innings. Like, I'm not. Let's go. Figure that out. Figure that whole situation out, too.
That's some weird stuff that they've done.
Isn't it weird?
Really weird. I mean, he's been so dependable in the postseason. Last night, to Arizona's credit, they hit him around a little bit more than anybody else has. But, man, it's so weird how we're doing games now. For guys that are good. I get it for guys that, like, you're scared to death. But, man, to, like, pull Scherzer after, before he gets through 3 innings and Ranger Suarez doesn't get through half the game, it's very strange.
I mean, that's going to be their number 1 offseason plan is starting pitching. And then I would say, again, like, no offense to these guys, but, you're pinch hitting Pache, who worked a really nice at bat against Sal Frank.
He did.
And then, to end the game, Jake Cave, who had great, he's a big league hitter, and he had great numbers at AAA this year, and he's a good hitter. But I don't know. It just seems to me like you maybe want.
They were light.
To address that, yeah.
They were light on the bench. No question.
And you guys know this one's brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. The baseball playoffs are underway and things are heating up in the ballpark. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you won't miss a moment of the action. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. So what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BASEBALL today. Baseball today. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code Baseball today. The crown is yours. Gambling problem?
Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See dkng.co/baseball for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
All right, we're actually going to have 2 more shows before the first World Series game, so we're going to have plenty of time to break down the matchups, who's got the edge here, all sorts of fun stuff. Just give me one storyline you're most looking forward to between Texas and Arizona.
I feel like it's pretty generic, but it means something to me. It's just roster construction, how you got there. I think that's a storyline. The Rangers, they went out and spent in free agency. A lot of their main cogs are from free agents. Now they made some trades as well, but that's how they acquired their talent. They went out and bought it. And Arizona, you'd be hard-pressed to really find a pricey free agent on their roster right now. I think Evan Longoria was one, but, it's not $300 million.
Pricey, though.
Yeah, so I think that's interesting to me. It's like, the Gabriel Moreno and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. trade, like that was massive for them, sending Varsho and getting those two. So it's just different types of roster construction. You could talk about the payroll disparity. I believe the Diamondbacks are right around 105 million, and then Rangers right around 200 million. So you can kind of talk about that as well. But to me, it's just both these teams were in a massive hole just 2 years ago, over 100 losses. And now here they are, but they've gotten there in different ways. So I'm not going to tell you who I'm kind of rooting for just yet, but I have a lean.
Yes, you do. Two quick stories. Longo returning to the World Series for the first time in 15 years is really cool. In fact, there you go. There's the Longo signed Tampa Bay Rays card, bro. That
he's having so much fun.
Oh, of course he is. I love it. I'm happy for him. It's the longest drought between World Series appearances ever for a position player, and longest one for anybody since El Presidente Dennis Martinez pitched for the Orioles in 1979 and then my then Indians in 1995. So pretty cool for Longo. And Bruce Bochy, if he wins this one, that's 4 World Series.
Yeah.
The only managers who will have more are Joe McCarthy, Casey Stengel, and Connie Mack. When you're talking about a guy,
guys.
Yeah, I used to hang with him, smoke cigars.
Yeah, he did. Connie Mack for sure.
Yeah, in my suit and my cool hat in the dugout. I looked up Connie Mack last night just to kind of see his. First of all, the fact that the guy managed the A's for 50 years is insane. Did it every day in a suit, and he lived, I believe, until the mid 1950s, until the age of 93. That's pretty good back then.
That's really good. And there's like a league named after him. I always think that's cool.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Bob Melvin, officially the new manager of the San Francisco Giants. We'll talk more about that on tomorrow's show once he has the press conference and kind of talk about it from the Giants angle and what it means for their franchise moving forward. But what this means is there's now a vacancy in San Diego, which we certainly did not expect at this time a year ago. How good a managerial job is it in San Diego right now?
I think it can be an excellent managerial job. I mean, you got an owner that's willing to spend money. You've already brought in a ton of talent. You still have 3 high-ranking prospects in your farm system. Now, the only caveat to that is it seems like AJ Preller is not exactly easy to work with, but for the right guy, it could be a great job. It just depends on how all of that meshes together. Now, a lot of reports are saying that it's going to be Ryan Flaherty, who's already in the org. And so if he has a good rapport with Preller and clearly he has one with the players, it could be a great spot for him. An outsider coming in who doesn't necessarily have that rapport with the players or has finds it to be abrasive, the relationship with Preller, then it wouldn't be. But I think that the opportunity is there for this to be a great spot to land in, because a lot of times you get a job, like say Ryan Flaherty is going to be his first managerial job. A lot of times you have to take that with a team that's rebuilding. This team's not rebuilding, bro. This team is already there. You have a chance to go win right away with this team. So in my mind, I think for the right person, it could be a great opportunity.
Well, let me play the other side of this momentarily.
Okay, yeah, of course.
First of all, we don't know for 100% it's going to be Flaherty. All right.
No, I said the reports are him or Schilt, but
yeah, him or Mike Schilt. Another name that was reported last night, which to me makes a ton of sense, is Skip Schumacher. He did coach there before. He could get out of his deal. Yes, get out of his deal with Miami. The reports is that he did not like the way that the stuff went down with Kim Ng. Not happy at all. His family still lives on the West Coast in Orange County. This would be a huge opportunity I think he's probably the happiest guy on the planet that Bob Melvin left and now vacated that, because it would not shock me if his agent behind the scenes is trying to work something and talk to Preller and say, hey, you've already got a guy who you have seen turn shit around quickly in a place where they never win. Go get him back to San Diego. He'll be happier. You'll be happy. You don't have to roll the dice on a guy like Ryan Flaherty if you don't want to, or on a guy like Mike Schilt, who did a nice job in St. Louis and things. There was just a huge falling out. Here's the other side of this. Preller is hiring his 5th full-time manager since 2015. So either you consistently hire the wrong person or shit is just silly behind the scenes that we don't know about. To me,
oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. And this is what you got to power move Preller right away if you go there. I don't think anybody's power moved him. You have to go in there, you have to step on his shoe right away. And then you have to call him CJ. Don't call him AJ. Just mess with him just a little bit. Let him know you're in control here.
If Bob Melvin couldn't do that with 2 decades of managerial experience and Manager of the Year awards and taking teams to the playoffs, like, we thought that was a perfect fit. Like, they'd have an adult in the room, and it worked out great the first year. And then this year, when they were supposed to compete for the World Series, they're basically a 500 team.
No, I there's no doubt in my mind that working with AJ Preller is a headache. It sure seems like that. It sure seems like he micromanages everything, but you have to set the tone. I don't know. And maybe you won't get the job if you set the tone. But I think AJ Preller would respect that maybe. Hey, man. You do what you do. Let me do what I do. I think that would be like, okay.
Right. So I will say this. It's not one of those shit jobs out there. And we know the handful. I'm not here to pick on teams, but we know which organizations right now are just not giving an FUCK about winning or development or anything else. So there's a couple of those jobs. Those are bad jobs. To say you're taking over a team that's going to have a minimum of a $200 million payroll, even though they're going to chop some payroll, it sounds like, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. But, man, it seems like there's a lot of headaches that come with it. Just saying. And ones we'll never know about. Ones we will never know about.
You need the right guy there.
All right, last thing. Congrats to 2 of our brethren here at the network, one of whom is the co-founder, Jake Storiali, the other Dalton Feely, who is a lifelong Diamondbacks fan.
What about Taylor Jackson?
Oh, Tay too. Absolutely. Yeah. 3rd one. God, and she's the one most closely associated since she actually worked for the organization. So very happy for the 3 of them. Good call. Good save. Thank you. But Jake in particular, he flew out to Arizona when they were in the midst of a 9-game losing streak, I believe. And then since he visited, just saying, does that mean that Arizona has to pay for a ticket, fly him out, put him up at the Arizona Biltmore, and then get him tickets to the game?
No, I think it means John Boy Media needs to fly him out there. And there may be, I'm not saying there's been talks, but there's been talks. We'll see.
Really?
We'll see. I might weasel my way into going to the World Series as well. We'll see.
You going to sleep on Longo's couch?
I might. We're like this.
That's adorable.
I love that man with all my heart. I really do. I am like, I'm so excited for him to be doing this. And now I just want them to win for him.
If you stay at his house, who is the best looking guy that played 3rd base in the show?
Me.
You're better looking than Longo.
Yeah, but he's got more money than me. He's got a better career than me. He's still playing. So he's more desirable than me right now, but I think I'm better looking.
Might have to put that out on a poll. I think we should cut that.
Well, that's the thing is he's got a lot of things that I don't have, Chris. Yeah. So we're just going straight looks here.
Okay.
And I want to warn people, I'm about to shave this beard off. You're going to see me without a beard for the first. I have to for my Halloween costume.
Do you want to share what it is?
I don't care. Yeah, sure. We're all going. A big group of us is going as like the Clueless, the movie clan. So somehow I'm Paul Rudd, the stepbrother who kisses his stepsister.
Okay.
But I have to shave. Which I think I'm going to do like right now after this show.
Okay. Get in character. I like that. Quick reminder, still time to get in your SeatGeek question of the week. Get it in by tomorrow, though. Use our social media channels at Chris Rose Sports. Just use it on X, formerly Twitter. Hit the reply, put it in there. If we pick yours and make it creative, make us think a little bit, let us have fun with it, you will get $1,000 credit to use on SeatGeek. So there you go. Congratulations, Diamondbacks. Congratulations, Rangers. I will be talking to Austin Hedges later today. He will be the latest
That's awesome.
person on the Chris Rose rotation. How about that? Guy starts
That
his year in
motherfucker's having the
Pittsburgh,
best time of his life right now.
and now he's going to be in the frickin' World Series. I can't wait
He went
to
from
hear.
the Pirates to the World Series.
Pretty amazing stuff. All right, we will get things going with a breakdown of the series coming up on our next show for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, and the uber-talented and soon-to-be clean-shaven Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Thursday on Baseball Today.